Bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Avengers Doomsday is the biggest test for the MCU, and it's something that most people feel like they can't pull off, including me. I'm not doubting Marvel's ability to make a very interesting movie. I know they can. In fact, all their movies are very entertaining in hindsight. But in recent times, they seem to have lost some of the narrative determinism that made this vast shared universe feel so cohesive. And I know that because I've made multiple videos analyzing where they've messed up badly. Doomsday is going to be one of those movies that if Marvel isn't careful to avoid some very dire mistakes, even someone with zero media literacy will notice how poorly it turned out. Now, even before Doomsday has an official trailer, the MCU has already made a couple of questionable moves. The first is casting Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. On the surface, it feels like a nostalgic fix, the same kind of move that worked for Deadpool, Wolverine, or Spider-Man No Way Home. Bringing back familiar faces is a proven way to drive huge box office numbers. But here's the catch. Nostalgia alone doesn't make a movie meaningful. RDJ could be phenomenal as Doom, and I have no doubt he could bring gravitas and charisma to the role. But the problem is that audiences might focus more on Robert Downey Jr. than on the character of Dr. Doom. The nostalgia might draw viewers in, but it also risks overshadowing the story itself. That's not my ideal scenario, but it's the kind of move that could still work commercially, even if it doesn't serve the narrative perfectly. Now, the second serious mistake they've already made is giving one of Marvel's biggest characters zero buildup. To understand why Doom is so difficult to pull off, you first have to look back at how the MCU built Thanos. It was a masterpiece of long-term planning. The shared universe concept worked perfectly for him because they didn't actually need him to do anything for 10 years. They just needed him to loom. From the very first The Avengers, the writers planted the idea that there was someone behind the curtain. They scattered breadcrumbs across the universe, a cameo here, a post-credits glance there.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Even in Avengers Age of Ultron, there were hints of Thanos through the Visions and Thor's side quest.
Someone has been playing an intricate game and has made pawns of us. Once all these pieces are in position.
Triple Yahtzee?
Do you remember when I carried a nuke through a wormhole?
No, it's never come up.
Save New York?
Never heard that.
Recall that? A hostile alien army came charging through a hole in space. We're standing 300 feet below it. We're the Avengers. We can bust arms dealers all the livelong day, but that up there, that's the end game.
In Thor: The Dark World, we were introduced to the Aether, which was later confirmed to be the Reality Stone. In Guardians of the Galaxy, the Power Stone became central, and we saw that Thanos wanted it. Every single film, although each had its own unique tone and identity, was still linked to one unified threat looming at the center. That is very clear narrative determinism. Narrative determinism is the idea that pre-existing storylines and carefully planted setups shape the outcome of events, guiding the audience toward an inevitable conclusion. The MCU understood that at the time. The philosophy of the Infinity Saga was simple. Build the heroes up, let them win small battles, but always remind the audience that a bigger storm was gathering just over the horizon. The connectivity of the MCU became a tension-building machine. Every time a hero succeeded, you couldn't help but wonder how Thanos would eventually respond. Then when we finally saw him in action, the payoff worked because the setup was almost invisible. We didn't need a long origin story for Thanos because we had already spent a decade watching the consequences of his influence. Gamora and Nebula showed us his parenting style. Ronan and Loki showed us his reputation. The shared universe allowed Thanos to exist as an idea long before he existed as a fully active character. Dr. Doom doesn't have that privilege. Right after the Infinity Saga ended with Avengers Endgame, the MCU made a lot of front-end and back-end decisions that made it harder to determine exactly where the franchise was heading. Now they've dropped the huge announcement of Doomsday, while simultaneously trying to course-correct previous mistakes. Doomsday's only buildup so far exists in the teasers Marvel keeps releasing. And those don't actually tell us anything about Doom himself. They show destruction. They show torment. They show scale. But they don't show character. And that's a problem. There are still major questions about Doom that we're supposed to have answers to before walking into a film of this magnitude. And judging from the casting list, I'm not convinced we'll get them. This movie reportedly has one of the longest ensemble casts in Marvel's history. It's combining multiple independent storylines, trying to unify a scattered universe, while also introducing one of the most complex and philosophically layered characters in Marvel history. That's not impossible, but without foundation, it's dangerous. The one thing the MCU should avoid with all their might is making Doctor Doom Thanos 2.0. It wouldn't work, and Thanos already set the bar very high. He had a philosophy people found intriguing. He was a villain, but with a convincing ideology. Doom, however, shouldn't be classified so simply as a villain because he doesn't see himself as one. The one thing they have in common is that they both genuinely believe they are right. They are mentally convinced that what they are doing is the best possible solution for the universe. This is where I hope Marvel doesn't get confused. Thanos knew he had to cross certain lines to achieve his goal. But Doom shouldn't see any line at all, because in his mind, he is the moral line. He believes he is morally correct by default. Thanos wanted balance. He saw overpopulation and chose genocide as the solution. Twisted, yes, but still framed as sacrifice for survival. He even sought a painless method. He believed he sacrificed the most for his mission, placing himself outside of it, even accepting death at the end. His logic is utilitarian. Utilitarianism is a consequentialist ethical theory that judges actions based on outcomes, aiming to maximize overall happiness and minimize suffering. It's often summarized as the greatest good for the greatest number. Doom should be something else entirely. He doesn't believe half of existence should be eliminated. He believes it should be ruled, and not because he craves power in a shallow way, but because he genuinely believes the world would function better under his control. To Doom, democracy is inefficient. Heroes are unstable. Governments are weak. He sees himself as the cure. That ideological certainty is what makes him dangerous. From the comics, Dr. Doom, born Victor Von Doom, is not just a villain, but a monarch, a genius, and a sorcerer whose life is defined by trauma, ambition, and an unshakable belief in his own superiority. He first appeared in Fantastic Four #5. His origins trace back to a Romani heritage in the fictional nation of Latveria, where tragedy defined his childhood. His mother perished through dark sorcery, and his father died while fleeing persecution. Those events embedded within Victor not just trauma, but a burning conviction that power is the only true protection against chaos and humiliation. He doesn't merely wear armor. He becomes it. He constructs a persona so absolute that Victor effectively ceases to exist, replaced by an entity who refers to himself in the third person and believes he is the embodiment of inevitable rule. Behind that iconic armor, he turns himself into a symbol of absolute authority and rules Latveria with an iron fist, convinced humanity is too weak and chaotic to govern itself without his guidance. Doom's ideology blends tyrannical control with a self-perceived moral duty, allowing him to justify manipulation, mass imprisonment, and even cosmic-level reality alteration as necessary for the greater good. He has stolen godlike powers, battled cosmic entities, and reshaped entire universes when it suited his vision. His mastery of both science and sorcery places him leagues above ordinary mortals, and even most superhumans. What makes him terrifying isn't rage or cruelty alone. It's conviction, an unshakable certainty that he is the only one capable of saving the world. That certainty turns every decision, every atrocity, and every confrontation into something calculated, almost inevitable. But all of this cannot be fully realized in a movie with 27 other characters who each have their own arcs and storylines. How are we supposed to experience Doomsday if Doom doesn't take the front line, not just in this story, but in the stories leading up to it? Like I said before, Doctor Doom shouldn't follow the classic superhero trope. It has to be something entirely different. The typical fight, lose, regroup, and win structure wouldn't work here. From the teasers we've seen, it almost feels like Marvel understands that. The heroes must lose something they have always fought to protect: their ideology. If Thanos tried to impose the truth he believed about the world onto everyone else, whether they understood it or not, Doom should go further. He shouldn't just impose an idea. He should control the entire narrative. He should make the world bend to his ideology in a way that makes us question whether he's right. He should force the heroes to fail the very principles they were built on from the beginning of their journeys. Make them do the one thing they swore they never would. Make them choose between the lesser of two evils. Thanos made the choice himself. Doom would make everyone else make it. That's how Doctor Doom should be written. He could be classified as a consequentialist authoritarian with Nietzschean overtones. A character whose menace doesn't come from brute force alone, but from forcing the world and the heroes to bend to his vision, challenging the philosophical core of heroism itself. In the Infinity Saga, we lost Loki, Natasha, Heimdall, Vision, Gamora, and Tony Stark. Each loss hurt. But here, even more should be at stake. Doomsday shouldn't just be a setup for Secret Wars. That should never be the case. I shouldn't leave the cinema just waiting for the next part. I should leave in the same emotional state I left Infinity War. But instead of anticipation, I should be in philosophical conflict, mentally debating whether Doctor Doom was actually right. The direct repercussions can be faced in Secret Wars. And honestly, I've even come to the conclusion that this film might need to be at least 4 hours long. Because if the MCU truly wants to pass this test, it will need time, a lot more time, to earn it.